Hello everybody, welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm coming at you with an interesting video for you today. I'm gonna make a fire. I hope you enjoy the video. Stay with me, guys. We're going to forgo this today. We're going to try to use this guy. There should be one or two more in there, hopefully. Looks like we have two to get her done, so we'll try to get it done with two. Thank you, Plumpy E. Let's go make a fire, folks. That could be useful for me to make my fire. So I'm reaching through, I'm looking at these guys. These guys are nice and dry. Just going to pull some of these off. These are going to make a good start to my fire. It's just the little heads of these things. It's winter time right now, as you can see. But these are completely dry. They've been sitting in the sun. And this is going to be a good little start to my fire. So you want to make sure to get plenty of them. Doesn't hurt the plant at all. Pulling these guys off, and I have a nice little pile of these. I'm going to go set those down somewhere dry. You can see right here that there's a little bit of a dry spot. I'll just set those right there. Let's go find what else we need. Right here we see a little bit of grass type material. This is going to be good for our tinder. So let's pull some of this. Don't need too much. This is stuff that's very highly combustible. very easy to get going. This will be good for my first layer right after I get my spark. I'm going to try to make a fire today with only 1 or 2 sparks of my ferro rod. I don't want to sit there and strike that thing all day. I want the ferro rod to last me as long as it possibly can. So as I'm walking here, I'm just kind of looking around for anything that I can use to put into my fire. Let's grab a little more of this grass. This is really good stuff. This is like gold in a survival situation when it comes to making fire, for that matter. Look at that stuff. That is really good stuff right there. This is exactly what we want. I see some over here. It's not going to hurt the landscape at all. But you want to make sure that you have plenty of this stuff long before you throw that spark. You want to have all your material together for the most part, because once you throw that spark and things start burning, then the fire gets a little desperate because it's in its infancy, so it's very delicate in the beginning. So we want to make sure that we have plenty of this stuff at our disposal to use so that we can have a high success rate at getting our fire built. Because these things can be finicky sometimes. If you find any of this grass that has any kind of snow or anything on it, a lot of times you can just bang that snow off and it'll fall off. I'm going to go set this next to my dry stuff that I picked up a minute ago. That would be natural tinder. You see, some natural tinder. I have my first layer of grass. Now let's go find some kindling. Kindling is anything smaller in diameter than a pencil, and we need dry stuff for our kindling. So I'm looking over here. You can see that a lot of this stuff, I'm breaking it and I'm hearing that snap. That snap is a good indicator that this stuff is dry, and we want that. We want that good crisp snap. We get anything like this that just bends and doesn't snap, that thing is green inside, and it's not the best choice for our tinder, or excuse me, for our kindling. We want the stuff that has that snap. All this stuff is dry. We want to get a combination of pencil sized, but we want a lot of them that are smaller than a pencil, about toothpick sized. Because again, when we start our fire and it's in its beginning stages, it's very, you really have to baby that thing to get it going. So we want to make sure that we have thin material that will ignite fairly quickly without a lot of effort. That will help us achieve a higher success rate in the start of our fire. Of course, once we get it going, we can put larger things on and things of that nature, but in the beginning, like I said, we have to make sure we have small stuff. That's the stuff that's going to ignite, and that's the stuff that's going to start. Once we get that stuff going, then we go to pencil sized, and once the pencil sized stuff starts going, then we go to a little larger than a pencil, up to 1 inch in diameter. Once those things burn, then we add larger. So we don't want to go too large too soon. I see so many people trying to make fires, and they make that crucial mistake. They put too large of stuff on way too soon, and it just doesn't work for them. So I try to do my fires a little differently. This is really good stuff right here that I have. Some of it's a little bit on the large side for this first layer, but, or excuse me, second layer, but nonetheless, it's still all good stuff. Okay, so again, pencil sized and smaller. Some here. This is some really good stuff, real thin. Toothpicks, light duty stuff. That's going to be easily lit. Here, and we're getting good clean snaps too, so that's good. This stuff is dead and dry. Even though it's winter time and even though it's been inclement, it's very difficult for that stuff to grow, or excuse me, for moisture to damage it when it's up away from the ground. We don't want to find this stuff off of the ground, because obviously looking down you can see there's moisture down there, and we don't want to do anything off of that. That stuff will all be moist and it'll take forever to ignite, and it'll be hard for us to get a successful build on our fire. So here we go, I'm just collecting. And this is kind of fun, you know, the whole time I'm doing this, I'm looking around, making sure that there's no wildlife in the area, making sure that there's nothing crazy sneaking up on me. Okay, we're keeping our self-aware. I'm gonna go put this stuff right next to my other pile. Okay. Now it's time to get things that are larger than a pencil. The start of our fuel. You see some good stuff here on the ground, but we can't really get into that because it's wet, it's damp. And what's going to happen, now this one's not so bad, but what's going to happen generally is that stuff is going to be igniting, but because it's wet, it's going to take a little bit of time to dry it, and then it'll ignite it. So this stuff, obviously you can see, it's a little bit larger than a pencil in diameter. This is good stuff. This is good for my actual beginning of my fuel. This is once I start getting that fire where it's sustained. This is the beginning of my fuel. Anything larger than a pencil, this is good stuff here. And it's all got real clean breaks, so it's real dry. If you get stuff that's wet, or if that's all you had, you know, if that's the only thing you could find was something that was wet, that could be a problem. But you know, there are ways of dealing around that, you know, and that's, like I mentioned, you got to dry that stuff before you can actually get it to work for you. So now you can see that I have my layers all together. Now I need to make sure I have a good place to put my fire, and I think right here on top is a good place. I'm going to take those little leaves kind of things. You see this little sticker thing right here? These are good too, because those will take off too. These little stickers. You can see there's a couple leaves here. All of this stuff is really good for fire making. It's all real light and it's easy. In fact, you know, I have those cotton balls in my pocket. I have 2 of them. But I think what I'm going to try to do today is I'm going to try to make it without using those cotton balls. I'm going to try to get the fire going. I'm going to move this stuff away a little bit, keep it close. I'm going to start with just a small amount. I'm going to go ahead and throw a spark into here and see if I can get this to ignite. Now the correct way to do a ferro rod is to hold your blade sturdy and pull the ferro rod back. See if we can get it an ignition here. My 90-degree spine on my knife ain't holding up too good. I'm going to use the blade. Okay. See, we're not getting it. Let's break out one of those cotton balls. I have a cotton ball. I'm just going to use about half of it. I'll set the other half aside. I'll open up this bundle, break open the fibers on the cotton ball here. Let's try that again. I don't like using the blade of my knife to catch my ferro rod, but looks like my 90 degrees wearing out. I'll use the blade here. Okay, there goes my cotton ball. Let's put this stuff on, this small grass. Let's get some lighter stuff on there. Let's do a little more grass. We have some good ignition, it seems. Let's put some more sticks on there, the small stuff, pencil sized and down. Don't want to put too much on too soon. We want to give those things a chance to dry and start burning. Let's get our material, our ferro rods. All these little weeds and things, you can throw them on there. They will help with the process. I salvaged my cotton ball. I'm putting that back in my pocket. My ferro rod, my knife's gonna go away. Thank you, Plumpy E, for the ferro rod, bro. I really like it. So now you can see that I'm starting to get a little bit of sustainable fire. There's some stuff here I'm gonna kind of start throwing on. Start putting a little bit larger stuff, but we don't want to put too much. Again, you want to keep that thing open where there's plenty of airflow between. We're just starting to heat up some of this stuff, hoping that we can get this stuff ignited. Smaller stuff is good right now. Pencil sized and down would still be real good, even though I put some larger stuff on there. I put the larger stuff on there because I want it to start drying out. Again, this is, even though we got a good snap on a lot of that stuff, some of this stuff is still very moist. I know I'm picking this up off the ground, but that's okay. I have flames now, and I'm kind of using these to get them to dry. Let's put some of this on. This isn't much of a fire, but if this is all we had, this is what we would have. And you can see that I didn't even use that grass, so I had plenty, and that was good. I'm kind of building like a teepee with this stuff, because the natural thing for the flame to do is to go upward, and so I'm putting this stuff up in like a triangle, you know, like a teepee. So as the flames go upward, they climb into our fuel, our wood. Plus, the outer portion of the teepee kind of helps keep the wind off the fire and things like that. So that works good too. So this is a good little fire that we got going. Got a little bit of stuff burning, and now it's just all about being patient with it, you know, not getting too excited, letting it kind of grow, letting it develop heat, making sure that it has plenty of oxygen. We're going to keep adding some fuel to it, things like that, and we should be good to go. Just takes a little bit of time. Let that baby grow. All this stuff that's nearby, I'm just kind of putting it on. That looks good. I used half a cotton ball. That's pretty good when you can do that. Some days I'll go out and I'll make a fire and it takes me 4 or 5 cotton balls. Today I was lucky. I got it done with half of one. So that's kind of cool. Look at this piece. It's dry. It's got a lot of little pieces that are the size of a toothpick. It's a little bit wet, I'm noticing. But that's okay. We'll just lean that baby up there and let it start drying out. Adding it to our teepee. See how those flames are climbing up on the inside, and they're just naturally heating that stuff up. That's exactly what we want. So at this point, I'm not going to need this grass. If I had you know, more trekking to do, or if I had to travel or something, I would take this grass and I would fold it down like this. Maybe tie a piece of string around it and keep it, and I would put it in my pack so that if I got down the road somewhere and I didn't have any kind of tinder available, I could actually break this out and use it. But that's not the case for us today, so I'm going to go ahead and throw this in the fire anyway. I'm going to kind of light the tips over here and just kind of rest that stuff in there. It'll smoke a little bit at the beginning because it's losing oxygen, but that's okay. That stuff will ignite and it'll increase on the heat of the fire. That'll add to the element and it'll help that fire go a little more. See all that gray smoke coming out? That's normal. It's doing that because we're starving it of oxygen a little bit by smothering it. So anyway, folks, I want to say thanks for joining me today on my fire video. I hope you got some good, useful information today. Please feel free, as always, to comment on this video, like this video, share the video, thumbs up. And if you like the content on my channel, please subscribe. And until next time, have a beautiful day. talk to you later. Bye-bye. Fire.